Hello and welcome in. Today is Thursday, March 7th, and we're going to be taking a look at what all messages want to come through for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. So, hope everybody's day is off to a good start, and let's see what else the day holds in store for you. So, as always, we will take a couple of cards here for the collective in general, and then go grouping by grouping and see what additional messages want to come through for you. All right, let's see what we've got in store. We have our Knight of Swords, we have our Four of Wands in reverse, and then we have our Seven of Cups in reverse. So this is, and we'll go one by one. So with our Knight of Swords energy, this is kind of that impulsivity. This is that, with this card, I would say that kind of bad boy, go for it. Because in the backdrop of here, so we have our Four of Wands in reverse, and that's kind of like this instability at home, kind of some problems, like self-doubt, like lack of teamwork. So if this reading for you is coming across more on a work front, it could be like this lack of teamwork showing up. Otherwise, if this is romantic in nature, it's that family discord. It's problems on the home front. And then the Seven of Cups, it's that there's too many options. And so that's creating this sense of, oh my gosh, there's just confusion, there's distraction, I don't really know, what to do. So one of the things as well, and I point this out whenever it comes up, is with the Four of Wands, this is usually one of those twin flame cards, because either way, reverse or in the upright, you still have the 11-11. And so for some of you, this may be an issue of there's a decision and issues at home. If you're not in union with your twin, maybe there's some issues coming up with that. But there is this sense of, all right, let's just go for it. So in terms of which of these options you're going for, that kind of remains to be seen. We'll take a look and see what all is coming through for each of the individual signs. But that's kind of that energy out there of the scenario where you've had this sense of unrest or things aren't settled on the home front. And remember, home can either be the physical house that you live in or within yourself, that maybe you feel like you've kind of had this sense of unrest because things aren't as you would want them to be. So that will create discord within you personally if you feel like you're not living the life true to yourself. So there's this really great book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and it's a woman who does end of life in-home care for people. She's an Australian woman, and she wrote about when she would go into these people's homes. And so it's kind of, memoir style and woven in there from all the stories she was hearing is what are the top 5 things across all these patients she had worked with. What were the top 5 things people were saying in terms of their regrets at the end of their life? And one of them was, I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So that was, I'm trying to remember if that was like the number one thing. But there was that. I wish I had let myself be happier. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. And the last one's slipping my mind right now. It'll probably come to me. But whenever it's that sense of choosing yourself, like I wish I'd had the courage to tell others how I really felt. So those are things, I love that because those are kind of universal, regardless of what your exact situation is you don't want to be sitting back saying, oh, well, I really wish I wouldn't have chosen that for so many years. So when cards like this, like family discord come up, and not really knowing what to do, there's too many options to choose from. At some point, you got to just pick one and go with it. And I hear this relatively often. People tend to regret the choices, like the things that they don't do, rather than a choice they made that maybe didn't work out as well. But it's like people later in life regret the choices, like the opportunities that they didn't take. So, all right, let's start today with our fire signs. That is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Let's see what all wants to come through for you today. The High Priestess. So this is that divine feminine card that is bringing in that inner wisdom. It's having that higher consciousness. So it's calling on, it's really calling on you to look within and choose from your heart, choose from the soul. So when you're looking at, oh my gosh, there's too many options. Here, I'll put it this way so you can see. The lady choosing is wearing a blue dress, like blue teal, just like Troy is. And so, Troy being an empath, and, she's very in tune with emotions and things like that. And so, make this choice from your heart, make it from your soul, do what's going to make your heart and soul happy, because that's what's going to push you into a higher vibration. That's what's going to put you into those higher timelines. And then once you've decided that course, that go for it. Go for it like the rebel here. And so, all right. And I just threw this card. The end of a tough cycle approaches. So hang in there. The end of a tough cycle is approaching. And take time to breathe out. So as things are unfolding, the end of something is coming up. And make sure you take the time to center, to ground. That inner wisdom, that higher consciousness does require stillness. It requires that time to be able to tap into it. So make sure you're giving yourself that time to do it. And this is, full moon in Capricorn. That end of a tough cycle approaches full moon in Capricorn. So if that resonates with you at all. Okay, the two cards that jumped, and then I'll pull. Indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. So this is going here, that there's so many choices, and you don't really know what to do. So use your intuition. That's what's going to help you make this choice, because there's a lot of different ways. It could go like this. It could go like this. You could choose that. You could choose that. Use your intuition. Use that inner knowing, that inner wisdom. And then peace. I am a being of love and release all negative energy. So choose the path of peace. So it's interesting, these came out together. So when you look at the colors with the purples laced in there, your decision should be what is bringing you peace. Not what brings peace to everybody else around me that might still create inner conflict or inner turmoil, but what brings me peace. Because how you show up in the world is going to bleed off onto other people. And we all know this. How you show up bleeds off to everybody around you. If you show up, to work, or if you show up in a group of friends and you are in a foul mood, you can tell the energy shifts in the group when you show up, and that's the energy you bring. When you make a choice, using your intuition, when you make a choice and choose the path of peace for you, how you show up in the world for everybody else is going to be that breath of fresh air, because now you're in alignment. You're making a choice that feels good in your heart, feels good in your soul, and that puts you in higher vibration. And that's what a lot of this journey is about, is even if it's tough, choosing what puts you in higher vibration and better alignment, because that's what the world needs more of. It's not more fire and more like agitation and confrontation. It's the world needs more higher level peace and love. All right. And goddess card, Damara, guiding children. You are good at helping, counseling, and healing children. Use your skills to help children now. So some of this, and when we say children, it can either mean actual physical young people, or it can mean minds and maybe, souls that have not yet awakened. So as you progress along your journey, you're learning things and you're evolving and developing. And how can you share that with other people? I'm not saying you have to go out and be a teacher or be a therapist or whatever, but just you living you and your authentic self and sharing that message, or even just standing in that energy, will give other people the courage to stand in their truth as well. So, so that was the message for fire signs for today. Let's take a look at our earth signs, which is our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's see what messages come through for you. The Hierophant. I feel like this card has come out a few times lately for Earth signs. So the Hierophant. This is that traditional kind of structured energy. It's also about finding a guru, a mentor, a teacher, or maybe you're moving into that role for somebody else. But if you're having this discord at home and you just feel like you don't know what direction to go because there's too many choices, enlist the help of someone else. Enlist the help of a counselor, of a guide, and see what all information you can get from them. What all support can you get from them? So that is the message coming through. A fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries. So we are coming up on Aries season here pretty quick, but the full moon or a fiery climax is approaching. So, whatever this discord is that's at home is starting to come. It's going to be coming to an end here soon. So be ready for that and go with it. So this energy of just go for it. This, I would say that's related to as this climax approaches, make sure that you know what you want this to look like on the other side. So regardless of how it looks now, how do you want it to look on the other side? Because especially as something builds and builds and builds, it's easy if you haven't really thought about what exactly do you want this to look like on the other side. It's easy in the moment to get caught up in but wait, things are changing. Do I want this to change? Is somebody else trying to make it change? And then it becomes a power issue sometimes where it's like, hey, if the other person says they want change, then I'm going to dig my heels in and say I don't. Even if that's really what you want, depending on what the dynamic has been, because it feels like, wait a second, if they win, do I lose? So make sure you know what you want before the situation comes to a head so that you can tailor your reactions and your actions to get to where you want to go. Forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. So if you're holding on to past hurts and past wounds and using that, if this is, related to a romantic situation, that's the way it's feeling. If you're holding on to past wounds and, using that to punish the other person, really it's punishing you too, because it's keeping you in that negative headspace. It's keeping you reliving old hurts over and over. So the forgiveness, and sometimes people say, oh, I can't forgive them for what they did. The forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Because when you're able to forgive and you're able to release that and move on, then you can feel that peace within you. So that's what forgiveness is about. It's about you finding the peace for you. And this is really interesting. So, and I can't remember how many cards there are total in this deck, but I am pretty darn sure this is what came out for you yesterday as well, or maybe it was the day before, for your whenever the last time was that I did the goddess cards. Pele, divine passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? So that goes along with forgiveness. And look at those oranges. That goes along with forgiveness. So if you're holding on to it to punish the other person because, they wronged you, they weren't as nice as you thought they should have been, whatever the situation. And this can even be if it was a work situation, if you felt like you got, passed over at work or got the short end of the stick or whatever. What is it that you really want? Is it really that you want to keep that job? Is it really that you want to be in that relationship or be in that situation? Or is it that they hurt you so you want to hurt them? So this goes along with that, my whole comment about, as this fiery climax is approaching, what is it that you want? Like, don't let yourself fall into this trap. Actually, it's funny because this is talking about a fiery climax approaches. In this Pele card, there's literally fire raining down from the sky from this volcano. So know what it is that you want out of this scenario. If you were to fast forward 6 months from now, where do you want to be? Like, ideally, where do you want to be? And make sure that your actions and your words and your energy in the coming days, weeks, whatever, support you getting there. So sometimes the forgiveness and moving on is necessary to just be done with whatever the situation is. All right, let's move on to water signs and see what all we have coming up for you. So that's Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. We also have the High Priestess. So more inner wisdom coming in, more of that higher consciousness about this situation. So since you probably didn't necessarily listen to the reading for fire signs, if you're a water sign, you probably just skipped ahead. With this, it was a matter of looking at, look at the dress that the woman is wearing in this card. It's the same color as Troy's dress. So it's that teal color. She feels like she's having to decide, because you have all these options, all 7 of those to choose from, and what direction do you want to go? And this is about using your inner wisdom, using that higher consciousness when making that decision. Let yourself be guided by your heart, by your soul. Ask your guides for help. Ask your guides for some clarity and some direction. Your commitment is being tested. So with this, your commitment to wanting to be in a certain state is being tested. So for some of you, it could be a matter of feeling like your commitment to your relationship is being tested. Do you really want to be in this relationship? I tend to view this as more like your resolve is being tested. So if you're saying, okay, I want to live, or, I want peace and happiness. If that's your mantra, I want peace and happiness. I don't want to focus on conflict, drama, whatever. I want peace and happiness. Your commitment to that is being tested, because if you're in a situation where you're not getting peace and happiness, like true happiness, and when I say peace, I don't just mean, okay, this person's not griping at me, my boss isn't, yelling at me, my clients aren't screaming, not that, but like that deep inner sense of peace. So with that, it's the presence of peace, not the lack of conflict. So if you're saying that you want to live in peace and happiness, how committed are you to doing that? Are you willing to put forth the effort? Are you willing to fight for it? Or is it kind of like that line from Miss Congeniality? What's the one thing this world needs more of? Oh, that's easy, world peace. And everybody just says it, but it's kind of like a nothing answer. You're being tested. Where do you want to sit? What energy do you want to sit in? So make sure that you're clear on that, knowing that if you want to get somewhere, if that's not where you are, it's going to take some work, but keep that goal in mind. Loneliness. I know that I am never alone. So this could be part of the issue when you're trying to choose, is that one of the paths feels lonely. And, especially when we're talking about like your commitments being tested, does it feel like the path that you're being drawn towards is a lonely path? Because if it is, know that you're never alone. And some of it too, if you're starting down a spiritual path, it seems like this spiritual path, you go through waves of it where it does feel very lonely, because it's a lot of time on your own. It's a lot of introspection, but that doesn't mean that that's bad. And that whole idea of knowing that you're not alone. For one, you can call in your soul tribe, and that will help. But just remember, you're never alone. All right. So the card that flipped was Green Tara. Start delegating. Ask others, including me, to help you instead of trying to do everything by yourself. So that goes with the call in your soul tribe. So that's what the jumper card was. And then the one I pulled was Ixchel, Medicine Woman. You are a channel for divine healing power. So if that's the case, going along with the loneliness and how I mentioned that sometimes on the spiritual journey, you go in waves where it does feel very, very lonely. If you're channeling divine healing power, a lot of times you do need recharge after that. and I'll even notice it when I'm doing like those semi-monthly readings, that I need to take a little bit of a break afterwards, because, channeling and tapping into source and spirit can be tiring. And sometimes you just need to rest afterwards. All right. Last but not least, on to our air signs. What do our air signs need to know for today? The Chariot. So this is that card about overcoming obstacles, and it's fast moving energy. So things are changing. So whatever this discord was, this family discord, it's moving through quickly. And this, feeling of, oh, too many choices, that's going to be passing through you, or you're going to be, transmuting that quickly and moving into these two. These two are the jumpers, and I'll pull one. It says, bring love into the situation, new moon in Aquarius, and it's time to take action, new moon in Aries. So Aquarius has already happened. New moon in Aries is coming soon, because Aries season is coming up. So those were the two that were jumping, or that jumped out. And then be bold and make the first move. So that was the one that I pulled. So that goes along with this energy of, all right, this kind of, call it bad boy, reckless energy, this opportunity, just go for it, go for it. The universe is saying now is the time. And when it's saying bring love into the situation, love will help you overcome these obstacles, and it'll help you overcome these boundaries. And that's what's going to move things forward for you. All right, surrender. I can release my need to control. So this is a huge thing on the journey, on the spiritual path. So look at all these coming in, all these purples, bringing love into the situation, and then surrendering, and kind of giving it to the divine. Now remember, surrendering is not the same as giving up. Surrendering isn't like, oh my gosh, this is just whatever, I guess I just don't even care. That's not what it is. It's saying, I acknowledge that I cannot single-handedly change everything. I cannot control all the outcome, that some things are fated and destined, and I trust that the universe is bringing in what's for my highest good. So the one that jumped is Ishtar, boundaries. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. And then the other one that I pulled was Mawu, Mother Earth. You are called upon to help with environmentalism. But with the boundaries card, and this is one like love yourself enough to say no to other people's demands. It's kind of this whole age of like cell phones, and some people sit in that energy of saying, well, but if so-and-so reached out to me and they called me, I have to answer. Just because they call doesn't mean that you have to answer necessarily. So are you in the mood to talk to the person? Could you just wait, let it go to voicemail, call them back later? So just because somebody wants to be in your energetic field doesn't mean that you have to let them be in your energetic field. Like, you can put that white light protection bubble around you and just be like, this is my time. This is my peaceful time. I'm not going to let anybody interrupt that, even if they want to. So that's my boundary. This is my quiet time. So I hope that you found today's message to be helpful. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest. So I do have some other exciting news coming up later this week as it relates to some twin flame things. So if you're on a twin flame journey, make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell so you can be alerted as to when those videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.